Guys, welcome back to a new video. If you're new here, I'm Dave from HeartSpace, where we are creating videos that expand your awareness, your consciousness, and of course, your heart. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss any videos in the future. Today, I want to talk about something that's really important, I think, and something that a lot of people are going through. And I know for myself, I went through this for a very long time. And it's the idea of, or really having the introspection and the clarity to know if you're living your life on autopilot. So essentially, what does autopilot mean? Well, they say we have about 90% of the same thoughts that we had yesterday, today. You know, they say that our actions, I forget the percentage, but are more or less the same from yesterday. Essentially, we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of routine. And that's great and can be great in many different ways. For example, you can create deliberate routines that you've consciously created in order to advance yourself, evolve, progress. For example, cultivating a workout routine would be a very healthy thing to do. However, what ends up happening for most people is they get caught up in these either bad or what I would just say contentment type routines where they're coasting by, they're comfortable, and they're not really being stimulated enough to want to change or enough to be fulfilled. And so if our behaviors and thoughts and what we say is 90% of what we already said yesterday, what happens is we develop these routines and we keep reinforcing them by doing them each and every single day unless we break the pattern. If you ever noticed when you're not consciously aware, when you're not present, that you still do things pretty automatically and you think certain things and you kind of just go around and do your thing and you don't even have to think about it? If any of you drive, you may have noticed that sometimes you're driving and you just kind of realize, wow, for the last 10 minutes I've been driving and I haven't been watching the road because it's so second nature, it's so habitual for you. Now, there's a great danger in this, I believe, when it comes to wanting to live a fulfilling life. Because when there's no adventure, when there's nothing new, when you're always comfortable, this leads to complacency. This definitely doesn't lead to growth. In fact, it can actually lead to decay if you're not constructing these routines consciously. Again, I gave you an example of working out. If you work out, I mean, it depends how you work out, but let's say you're doing some cardiovascular work, you're doing some HIIT training, high intensity interval training, you play a sport and you are very committed to it. You go to the gym and you lift in the right way, proper form, you take care of your body, do mobility training, all that. That's a great routine to have, right? And you have to consciously form that. And when that becomes an autopiloted type thing, it's not a bad thing because it's progressing you. Although even when you're doing something like that, you want to bring yourself into the present moment because that's just going to enhance whatever you're doing, right? So those routines are great. But what if your routine, and I'm going to give you what I believe the standard routine is for people, with maybe it varying in different ways, slightly. I think for most people, it's they wake up, they have some kind of little morning routine. For most, they probably have breakfast and then they rush out the door to a 9-to-5 job. They go the same route, they get in the same car, they do the things the same way, they brush their teeth in the morning the same way, they go to work, they do pretty much the same thing at work or a similar selection of things. They come home, they watch TV or do something else to unwind, eat dinner, do whatever else they do at night and go to bed. And they do that, rinse and repeat over and over again each and every day. And so essentially, when you do that every single day, you just live in this autopiloted type way. You don't need to think about it because you've done it so many times. But again, this isn't, at least from my perspective, very fulfilling. And it's good to know how we kind of operate if that is your goal, to be fulfilled, to live a more happy, joyful, growth-oriented, evolutionary-oriented life. You need this awareness of how you work. You work in cycles, you work in patterns by habits. And so you want to deliberately create habits that don't allow yourself to be in this like negative autopilot mode or this just, I'm kind of okay, I'm content, I'm comfortable autopilot mode. So that's the affliction in a way, right? I think this is the majority of people, because we're not really taught to think about these things. We're not taught to kind of examine our life and really think, am I just kind of doing things and I don't even know why I'm doing things? You know, you ever had that thought? You're like, why am I doing this? You've done it so many times, and then you're just kind of like trying to figure out why you're doing it. Like, why am I doing this? Doesn't it really help me? This doesn't really do much for me. I'm not growing. This is not satisfying. I'm just doing it because I've always done it. You get into this routine, this rut, you know, that kind of thing where if you put like paint on your shoes and had footsteps for wherever you went, every single day you would walk the same trail, going over your own footprints. So that's the thing. Becoming aware of if your life is on autopilot. Now, how do you break this pattern? So here's a few things you can do. 1, know what you like, know what you want. It's hard to get somewhere if you don't currently know where you are and you don't currently know what it is you even want. If you have nothing to aim for, how are you supposed to even begin to figure out how you're going to get to a thing you don't even know about? I heard a really good analogy. It said, imagine, you know, you're a ship. It has a full crew, it has a captain, and it has a destination. The inevitable result of that ship leaving the harbor is it gets to its destination. It's in one place, it knows where it is, and it's going to another place. It's got the crew, it's got all the routines in place, it's going there 99.9% of the time. But let's take that same scenario, and let's just float that ship out to sea with no crew, no guidance. It's not going to get to where you want it to go. It's not going to be able to do anything. It's unguided. It's just going on its own accord without you, in this analogy, actually directing it in the direction you want it to go. So you need to know and become aware of where you are and where you want to go. Bob Proctor, someone who's a very famous self-help guy, says, really the only thing you need to know, the only couple of things you need to know to succeed, to be fulfilled, to live a life of meaning, is to know where you currently are, where you want to go, and then the only thing after that is the will to do it, to stick with it, to persevere, to know that you're absolutely going to get there at some point. But you need those first two. So one way to get out of this kind of, if you're in a rut or in a routine or that you don't want, or you're in this autopilot mode, is you just take some stock on your life. Where are you? Find out where you are. What is your current situation? Then you can start to think about, what do I want even? You know, what fulfills me? What do I like right now? And start there. And if you can't find some things, you experiment. You go out there and you try things and you do things and you go to things that even just pique your interest slightly, right? And so that's the second thing you can start to do, is do something new every single day. Although our brains love patterns, and we pick up on them frequently, although our brains love routine to a certain extent, they also love new things. They love changes. Our brains love change to a certain extent. Meaning, for example, if say you're going to a shop or something and you always walk in the same way, you can do something as simple as just taking a different route. And this will actually stimulate your brain. It will feel like an adventure. It will feel a little invigorating. And all you've really done is change your route because it's different, it's new. And it's that simple. And this can be done, you know, for example, sometimes I have my laptop to do work. Sometimes I'll do it at this table. Sometimes I'll do it at the office desk. Sometimes I'll do it outside. Now, there is definitely the opposite to that can work too, because you could have a specific place you do work and you hone in and get into flow when you do that. But the point is, when you add some variety to your life, it kind of enhances the color of your life. It kind of makes it more colorful. You know, where we're going from these bland autopilot routines to just, you know what, I'm going to put my left shoe on instead of my right shoe this time. I'm going to be aware of my routines, my mundane routines, and kind of mix them up a little bit. Have a little fun with it. You know, maybe You eat the same foods. Maybe it's time to try some new foods. You know, maybe you've always wanted to try a martial arts, so you go and do, most places have a week free or a few classes free. Maybe you go try it out, right? See what you can do within your day to mix things up, okay? So first thing, know where you are, where you're going, have the will to do it, mix things up. And it could be in a small way. And the third thing, and the last thing I'll leave you with, is having something that's not just about you, something greater than you. You're working towards a mission, so to speak. You know, for me, for example, doing HeartSpace, doing my stuff on YouTube is that for me. It's something that's beyond just me, right? You know, I get something out of it, but also the people who listen and hopefully learn and hopefully apply what I'm going over also get something out of it. And I also actually believe the world gets something out of it because, you know, if I'm winning, the people who are listening are winning, the world is also winning because of the material we're talking about. Because more awakened, conscious, present people makes a better place. Present, conscious, awakened people, they don't destroy the planet. They don't abuse other people. They start to not see separation and they move closer to seeing oneness. So the last thing is, and I really do believe this is an important component to a fulfilled life, is a service, is being of service. And when you're of service to others, you're actually being of service to yourself. And that's a different topic for another day. But let's just really quickly recap. If you're in autopilot, first become aware. Am I in autopilot? Am I every single day is like the last? I do the same things. I go on my phone, I go on YouTube, I watch the same shit every single day. I go on Netflix, whatever. Am I doing the same shit every day? And is it not fulfilling? And again, variety leads to more fulfillment as well, along with some solid routines. I'm not demonizing routines. They're necessary and good, and you want solid routines in place, but I'm not talking about those healthy routines. I'm not talking about your workout routine. I'm talking about the mundane stuff. I'm talking about the stuff you don't even know why you're doing it because you can't even see how it's benefiting you, right? So one is clarity. Are you on autopilot and how much? Two, figure out where you are, which is that. Am I on autopilot? How far? You know, where am I right now? Where the hell am I? And then after that, start fantasizing, start imagining, using your imagination to see, where am I going next? Where do I want to go? What is my goal? What do I even want? Some people have no clue what they want. Not even a little bit. They're like, yeah, I want the new Jordans. But beyond that, whatever, I want the next video game. But beyond that, what? Outside of these material things and things that'll, you know, over time just decay, what do you want for your life, right? So figure that out. And also, when you figure that out, it doesn't have to be, it's not like, oh, it's this and it can't ever change. You know, it could be something you're aiming for now and you get halfway there and you're like, oh shit, it shifted to something else. That's fine. But have something you're aiming towards. Because again, if I'm aiming, you know, if I am trying to hit, you know, I'm doing archery and I'm trying to hit a target, but someone spins me around and puts a blindfold on me and I don't know where the hell I'm aiming, I'm not gonna hit the target. It's just not gonna happen. A ship that's unmanned is not gonna get to its destination. A ship that goes out to sea with no destination, you know, again, isn't gonna get really anywhere. It's just gonna be kind of floating at sea forever. So know where you want to go. And three, start thinking about things you can do that are of service. You know, for me, this is a great outlet because it allows me to help people. It allows me to go over these ideas and experiences that are very potent to me and I think very impactful and can be of great help to people and have been of great help to me. And this is a way of cultivating this community that I want to be of service, right? But there are so many things you can do, right, that can help you be of service, something that's beyond you. Maybe you want to do something like this, maybe you want to help people, I don't know what it is, but start thinking about how you can start doing that. You don't need to have all the answers right away, but just start thinking about how you can do that. It could be so simple too. It doesn't need to be, I'm going to try and start a YouTube channel and you know, make that my whatever. It could be as simple as just, you know, helping someone in need. It can be as simple as doing something that you really don't see any way how you're going to gain anything back, but you're helping someone else, you know? And honestly, it feels great to do so. Those are the three things, guys. A bit of a longer video, but if you find yourself in that autopiloted state, which I'm really I'm not basing this off any actual statistic I've seen, but I would say 90+% of people are in that kind of mode for the most part. Get yourself out of it. Life is so beautiful. Life can be so incredible. It can be anything, almost anything you want it to be. I would say anything you want it to be. You have to build that though. And so many people are, it's their life to live. So it's not that they're wasting it, but so many people seem to not even be trying to live it in the way that they want. So give those things a try, guys. Let me know if you like this video on this topic. Let me know down below what you're gonna do. I wanna hear your thoughts. I wanna hear actually where you think you are now and where you're going. I wanna hear your goals. And I'll see you in the next video.